Long live Maputo. Asanteni sana. Shukran. Thank you. Merci. Muito obrigada. Gracias.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Eno, for this statement delivered on behalf of the President of the African Court on Human and People's Rights. And hopefully this statement of yours will move our 11 member states that are yet to ratify to quickly seek the hand of, let's just get the 55 ratification that are needed to make this protocol ratified universally. I also wish that His Excellency, the Chairperson of the Commission, will consider the creation of an award for she, but also an award for a he for she. And I nominate myself to be the first one to receive that award. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before we move to the next statement, we have, according to the agenda before us, a short interlude. This interlude is a big surprise for all of us, and I hope we are ready for this big surprise. The interlude will be introduced by Miss Crystal Amy Zami, who is a project manager, also a motivator and activist. Ms. Crystal, you may proceed to the podium, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, honorable commissioners, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is an utmost pleasure for me and an honor to be given this platform in order for me to add a little contribution to the celebration of the African Human Rights Day. It means a lot to us as Africans, it means a lot to us as women, but it also means a lot for girls as we are celebrating today the 20th anniversary of the Maputo Protocol. We have a surprise that are dear to my heart. The first one is from Cameroon. She's a great poet, she's a lawyer, and she's really passionate by creativity. Rudy. The second one is a little girl. I really love her so much. She's a 9-year-old girl. She's schooled at a school called Stars Academy Pre and Primary School here in Arusha. She's so lovely, intelligent, smart. You will really discover it yourself. We know that so much has been done so far when it comes to advancing human rights. We are still far behind when it comes to the objectives to achieve, but we are very sure and optimistic that with all the effort, the devotion that we see through your participation today, that we can make it together. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Rudy and Jifeta for their performance. You're welcome.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, please, let's put our hands together and welcome these two young ladies.
My name is Jifeta. I want to be a veterinarian. I want to do great things and to be educated. I want to, but My name is Jifeta. I want to be a veterinarian. I want to do great things. I want to be educated. I want to, but
A technician, please bring us good microphones, my brother. Please.
Can I speak? Okay.
my name is Jifeta. I want to be a veterinarian. I want to do great things. I want to be educated. I want to, but
Okay. Shh. Don't speak unless told to. Girls, women, too much talking. By the gods, we must have forgotten our place. You'd cost billions for 15 years in books and pens in exchange for a dozen cows to happily breed and trade. Because you see, masters don't do well when mastering their maid is the one thing they don't command. And questioning is the one thing that makes the maiden feel good for her master.
and like Amina, as brilliant as she is.
When the person is speaking, it goes up. From the top. Okay, maybe we just
Stand here. Just stand here, just in case they have anything.
My name is Jifeta. I want to be a veterinarian. I want to do great things. I want to be educated. I want to,
Shh.
but
Shh. Don't speak unless you're told to. Girls, women, too much talking. By the gods, we must have forgotten our place. You'd cost billions for 15 years in books and pens in exchange for a dozen cows that would happily breed and trade. Because you see, questioning only ever taught a young maiden she was too good for her master. And masters don't do well when mastering their maiden is the one thing they don't command.
like Amina, as brilliant as she is.
You do as you're told. Like Amma, circumcised and married off at 12, and no one looked back as she cried. You do the same for me. You'd worship your husband and let the men wear the suits and ties. You'd obediently look after the children and the boys will
And when I'm abused, then
over it.
when I'm elderly, illiterate, or handicapped and disregarded,
You'd get over it.
unable to own property or not given a chance to make decisions.
You'd find a way over that too. Or maybe we shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't because you don't have to. Maybe years ago it was cool to have empty wishes and half-hearted dreams. Maybe in the wars of our enslavement we got mixed up in the struggle to recover our melanin, and some part of the team failed to look deep enough to realize they had built a patriarchate too strong it labeled us up into a weak gender relegated to last place. Maybe we can forge new stories like we began 20 years ago, with short, measurable steps, 1 million to the next level.
that it may be valid for me too at 12 to have a dream.
Like President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf,
Like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala,
like Miriam Makeba,
like Bethlehem Tilahun.
like President Samia Suluhu Hassan.
That education,
Employment,
entrepreneurship,
safety,
health,
and well-being may be things that you deserve just as equally. Staying ready for the revolution in the midst of imperialism and patriarchy, raising the bar on policies and partnerships for African people in this ode to the foremothers of our continent,
who bear their children and still promised us the best to Gali,
who support us through the scourge of war and violence as we walk as refugees to the borders of our lucky neighbors,
who work tirelessly for their lives and the lives of others,
celebrated this day for their selflessness and their being, that 55 we move together at 20.
all
For the
Ratification, domestication, and implementation.
Adoption, ratification of the Maputo Protocol. The African Center for Democracy and Human Rights Studies is one of the organizations that have been involved in the development and formulation of the protocol since the very beginning in the 1990s. As a member of the first working group established by the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, tasked with to prepare the zero draft of the protocol, and has accompanied the process ever since. After very fruitful collaboration with partners to advocate for its adoption in 2003, we co-founded, together with Equality Now, Femnet, and Oxfam Great Britain, the Solidarity for African Women's Rights in 2004. A coalition that has continued to make its mark, contributing towards the ratification, domestication, and implementation of the Maputo Protocol. It is therefore with great pleasure and a sense of pride that we associate ourselves with this meeting that is a call for universal ratification, domestication, implementation, and reporting of the protocol, and to indeed celebrate 20 years of its existence. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the situation of women in most of our countries, and especially in Africa, has always been one of despair, but not beyond hope. Over the centuries, women of Africa have endured discrimination, poverty, illiteracy, disease, and human rights violations. And it is no coincidence that these social ills have been identified as having a female face. The Maputo Protocol, as the new face for freedom, manifested in its adoption and entry into force within a record time of 18 months, has indeed brought about renewed faith in a world system that will stand firm to restore the dignity and integrity of the female person, primarily as human beings and as partners in development. I would not want to belabor the fact that barriers to prosperity still remain, with discrimination and inequality against marginalized populations among the major challenges that impede the attainment of sustainable development. While complementing the African Charter on Human and People's Rights in ensuring greater respect for observance of the human rights of women in Africa, it addresses gaps in the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women and underlines the need to put in place effective policies and other measures to back up legislation. Commendation is therefore due to the 44 states that have ratified. We urge them to domesticate, implement the protocol, especially the acceleration of legislative reforms to enhance policies and programs to this end. Living up to their reporting obligations, would greatly enhance the process. The outstanding document for the attainment of the human rights of women, not much progress would be achieved to address the dismal and discriminatory experiences of women in all walks of life in Africa. Moreover, the attainment of gender equality and the empowerment of women will remain elusive. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the role of civil society in supporting this process has been taken seriously and cannot be overemphasized. With over 80 national, sub-regional, and regional member organizations from all over Africa, the Solidarity for African Women's Rights Coalition has been a beacon of hope in the advocacy for the universal ratification and implementation of the protocol and in leveraging the benefits of the AFTA for the benefits of women. With a mission to hold AU member states accountable and enhance partnerships to fulfill their obligation under the Maputo Protocol, as well as encourage other stakeholders to actively apply the protocol for the promotion and protection of human rights, and particularly the rights of women. The role that SOA has played has continued to contribute to the accelerated ratification of the protocol in the states that have not ratified. It has also supported the domestication and implementation of the Maputo Protocol in the states that have ratified. Moreover, it has also been implementing the tracking and domestication mechanisms on the protocol at the national and sub-regional levels. As well, it has strengthened national community mobilization efforts and use the Maputo Protocol. And finally, it has also enhanced conceptual clarity of coalition members advocating for the Maputo Protocol. Today, as we celebrate African Human Rights Day, and 20 years since the adoption of the Maputo Protocol, a treaty which defines the rights of women and girls on the continent of Africa, SOA continues to promote the use of the Maputo Protocol to address the many legal, cultural, and societal impediments that impede the achievements of the rights of women and to unify efforts towards the universal ratification. In commemorating 20 years of the Maputo Protocol, SOA members have indeed renewed their call to action to ensure universal ratification and full implementation of the Maputo Protocol. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as a founding member of SOA, ACDHRS, in collaboration with partners, successfully designed and implement strategies to support the ratification in a number of countries, including the Gambia, which had initially ratified with reservations on Articles 5, 6, 7, and 14. These were eventually lifted following the redesigning of strategies and engagement. Established in 1989, ACDHRS is a Pan-African non-governmental human rights organization working to support the promotion and protection of human rights in Africa. It is based in Banjul, the Gambia. Under its gender equality program, ACDHRS, in partnership with other stakeholders, continues to lead sensitization, advocacy, training, and education aimed at enhancing the participation and engagement of civil society with the African human rights system and mechanisms, with a special emphasis on gender equality and the empowerment of women. In addition to research, at the core of its activities, it also carries out other research activities, assessing some countries on inheritance laws, marriage laws, women's knowledge of laws concerning them, the gender sensitivity of political party manifestos and constitutions, among others. Let me, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, lest I forget, the SOA and its members have continued to use the Maputo Protocol to leverage the African Continental Free Trade Agreement for the benefit of African women by promoting the use of the provisions of the protocol, especially Articles 13 to 19, taking into account Agenda 2063 Aspiration 6, as well as the development of accountability tools like the Maputo Protocol Scorecard Index. The necessity to improve regional integrated frameworks from a gender perspective is also reiterated. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, the adoption and entry into force of the protocol ushered in a new and significant era in the promotion and protection of the rights of women in Africa, and indeed the march towards gender equality and the empowerment of women. The momentum should be maintained to maximize the gains which led to this milestone. A regionally coordinated effort under the leadership of the African Union Commission through its Women, Gender and Development Directorate is essential to ensure universal ratification by all African states, and of course with support of all stakeholders, including the international community. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, much has been achieved, and through collective efforts, we have indeed come a long way. However, a lot more needs to be done. Marked differences between law, policy, and practice is evident. The African Center, together with its partners, and indeed SOA as the membership organization, will continue to call on the African Commission to urge states to provide women the very embodiment they deserve. We will continue to work with all partners and well-wishers to support this noble agenda. Happy African Human Rights Day. Together, we will ensure that the Maputo Protocol delivers for the women and girls of Africa. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Madam Hannah Foster, for your statement. We really appreciate the support of the coalition and all civil society to the efforts of the Commission, as well as the efforts of our member states to promote universal ratification of the Maputo Protocol. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we will open the floor for reflections at the end of the entire program, so we can have more time allocated for intervention. Some of us left their hotels a bit early without breakfast, without tea and coffee. So to refresh a bit, we're going to take a 30 minutes tea break, and we shall resume at 11:30. So please, let's be back on time, not to miss the rest of the program. It's very exciting statements and programs that are yet to come. Before we leave the room, I wish to call the Executive Secretary to the Commission to take the floor and share with us some announcement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Salah, for giving me the floor. I would just like to announce that tea and coffee will be served in a number of rooms, and I would be indicating which rooms for